Thank you so much. I'm glad and honored to be here representing European Parliament as Chairman of Industry, Research and Energy Committee. I'm a member of European People's Party, the largest political party in the European Parliament, and I represent Romania, a country very much committed to the transatlantic partnership. Our partnership with the United States is a very strategic one. For Europe, the world became a very different place since February, when Russia started a war of aggression against Ukraine. In addition to the physical battles being fought on the verge of the Union's borders, there is less tangible but just as important battle being fought here in Europe. The energy war Russia is waging on us. This is being felt already at all levels of our societies and governance. From the onset of the war and even before, when signs in the energy markets were raising suspicions of full play by Russia, the European Parliament, and in particular the committee that I'm chairing, has been activated to work tirelessly to palliate the effects on our citizens, our industry, and our economy in general. Actually, the European Union is facing with two dramatic challenges. The first one is the very high prices in energy, electricity and gas, and the second one is the challenge of the security of supply. Since the signing of the Versailles Declaration by the European Union's heads of states and government, we have stepped up our game in order to allow the Union to act as swiftly as possible. Concretely, European Union introduced the ambition of Repower EU plan, the plan that will phase out, will eliminate all imports from Russia, and in the same time reducing the consumption, diversifying the suppliers of gas, investing in renewables, investing in energy efficiency, investing in hydrogen. Then we also worked on the Fit for 55 proposals in a new reality. Fit for 55 is our intermediate targets in 2030 to reduce by 55% the emissions in order to reach climate neutrality in 2050, as stated by the Green Deal strategy. Also, the gas storage regulation was approved in a record time, and this allowed us to have now more than 90% gas storage and be prepared if a major disruption will occur in the cold winter. And also, we are currently defining the rules for the future hydrogen internal market and updating the existing rules for the natural gas markets to make it as efficient as can be, and these are just the most important initiatives. The world we live in has changed. The European Union did not define years and decades ago its internal market rules to work under wartime conditions. We based our rules under the premise that the continent would be at peace, that our external suppliers would respect international law, or at least the contracts that have signed with the member states. But the reality has changed, so we need to adapt. We need to fix what does not work for the benefit of citizens, of the economy, and of their welfare anymore. However, it is important to differentiate between the short-term emergency measures, and there we allow member states to use state aid, to use some interventionist mechanism, and long-term policies, where we would like to preserve a competitive internal market for energy and also remain committed to the decarbonization agenda. We must also come together, reliable and trusted partners, to deepen our ties and cooperation, so we can win ourselves of toxic dependencies on unreliable suppliers. For many of us, for most of us in Europe, the transatlantic partnership remains the most important and strategic relationship for the European Union and its member states. We cannot afford any tensions to arise among us and our trusted partners, because we really need to act together in solidarity. That's why I try to explain to my colleagues in the European Parliament, very worried about, for instance, Inflation Reduction Act, that this is something in order to allow and to encourage investment investments for new technologies, for decarbonization in the United States, and it's not something against European Union industries, and we need to find synergies, and we need to find an appropriate solution in Brussels in order to respond as partners to the IRA. Also, we are very much thankful to the United States that we really managed to reduce the imports from Russia with the help of United States LNG. In 2022, European Union has imported from the US more than 15 BCM, billion cubic meters, more than 2021, and this quantity will increase by the end of the year. And what we are now trying to send as a message is that we want to be medium and long-term committed and have the right partnership with LNG industry in the United States. I will finish by saying that European Parliament fully supports and commits to pursuing synergies and shared foreign and security objectives by further deepening cooperation in the framework of EU-US transatlantic dialogue. Also, that we really need the support in case of a severe EU-wide supply disruption, because this is still real. We are being helped by having full storages and also until now warm weather. But this situation could change. And even that this winter, with our storages full, we have some solutions. Unfortunately, for the next winter, the situation in European Union looks very dramatic, so we need to find solutions, and part of these solutions could come from our partnership, from our transatlantic partnership. Even that we are remained fully committed to the Green Deal objectives, in the same time we understand that we need to adapt and to adjust this agenda to the realities. And anyhow, we need this decarbonization agenda, but we need to keep our industries competitive. We need affordable prices for citizens, for economies, and also we need to leave no one behind. That's why Repower EU plan and all the legislation that we are debating now in the European Parliament and in the Council, where the energy ministers and member states are taking decisions, are extremely important to respond to both challenges. Green Deal, the decarbonization, but also the security of supply, the theme that we are debating today. EU and US need to continue working hand in hand to palliate the effects of the energy war played by Russia. Energy war is part of Russia's war on Ukraine, and as it hopes to cause enough damage in the Union and to make its support for Ukraine waver. So far, the Union and its citizens are showing enormous resilience in the face of historic levels of inflation and uncertainty. And we remain committed to support Ukraine. But of course, we need to continue supporting each other to stay strong in the face of the adversary. The war is being waged on many fronts, and it's testing old and new alliances alike. We must be united, and we must win this war. Thank you so much.